It was supposed to be a nothing moment, honestly, one of those forgettable slices of a weekday morning that never even makes it into your memory. I'd parked early, engine still warm, coffee cooling in the cup holder, going over notes in my head when I saw the patrol car slide in behind me. Lights on, not frantic, not urgent, just enough to say you, pull over. I remember thinking, okay, fine, 30 seconds, maybe a minute, then I'm on my way. Yeah, that happened. Before I could even fully step out of the car, I heard it. Step out of the vehicle, hands where I can see them. Not curious, not cautious, commanding. Flat. I paused with one foot still inside keys, hanging from my fingers, the morning air cool against my face, and I said, calm, polite, the way you're taught to speak when you don't want things to go sideways. Officer, what seems to be the problem? That's when I heard the click. You know the sound. Metal deliberate, a gun leaving its holster. Suddenly this wasn't a traffic stop. Suddenly there was a weapon pointed straight at my chest. Steady, not shaking, like he'd already decided something about me before I even opened my mouth. Don't move. Your body does something strange in moments like that. People think panic looks like screaming or running, but for me it was this heavy drop in my stomach like, oh, here we are again, just on a bigger stage this time. I raised my hands slowly, palms open. I'm not reaching for anything, I said. There's no reason for your firearm to be out. And he snapped back, don't tell me how to do my job. That line hit harder than the gun because right there I knew this wasn't about safety, it was about control. The parking lot kept going like nothing was wrong. A delivery truck hissed somewhere behind us. Traffic hummed on the road. Someone laughed near the gas station. Life didn't stop just because mine suddenly felt like it was balancing on a thread. He stepped closer, told me I matched a description. I asked description of what? No answer, just more commands. Step away from the vehicle, slowly. I did exactly that. Every move deliberate, heels touching pavement, hands still up. I could feel eyes on us now, people stopping, phones lifting almost automatically. Here's the thing most people didn't know in that moment. I wasn't just some woman sitting too long in a car. I'd spent more than 2 decades working in federal emergency coordination. When hurricanes hit, when infrastructure was threatened, when things went bad behind the scenes, I was the one people waited on to speak. Governors, agency heads, task forces. But standing there with a gun pointed at me, none of that mattered. All he saw was a black woman in the wrong place for too long. I grew up learning how to manage moments like this, just never this extreme. My grandmother used to say, be twice as prepared and half as loud. So that's what I did. I kept my voice steady. I told him there was no probable cause. I told him I wasn't armed, wasn't resisting. I asked him to lower the weapon. He didn't. Instead, his jaw tightened and he glanced at the growing crowd like they were an inconvenience. This was supposed to be routine, he muttered almost to himself. Later I'd learned the call that brought him there was vague. Suspicious vehicle, female occupant, parked too long near a secured building. No crime, no plate check, just a feeling someone reported. And he ran with it. Officer Ryan Cole had been on the force for years, clean record on paper, no sustained complaints. But paper doesn't tell the whole story, does it? Patterns hide there. Complaints dismissed, no consequences. He trusted his instincts. And his instincts told him I didn't belong. He ordered me to turn around, fingers interlocked behind my head. I did it. Exactly. Someone in the crowd whispered, this is getting out of hand. Another voice said, keep recording. I closed my eyes for a split second, not because I was scared, but because I was calculating. Timing. Witnesses. Words. Officer. I said louder now so the cameras could hear I am requesting a supervisor. That should have been the off-ramp, the moment to slow everything down. Instead, he doubled down. Do not tell me how to conduct my stop. I'm not telling you how I replied. I'm invoking my rights. I'm a federal employee. My credentials are in my briefcase on the passenger seat. You can verify them. Silence. Then the sound of metal again. Not the gun this time. Handcuffs. The snap echoed way louder than it should have. Someone shouted, hey, she's calm. Another voice asked for his badge number. He ignored them all and cuffed me anyway. Tight. Too tight. I winced, just barely. Not from pain so much as the weight of what this meant. As he guided me toward the patrol car, I said quietly, I want you to remember this moment, because when this is reviewed, every second of it will matter. For the first time, I saw doubt cross his face. Just a flicker. Then the car door opened and the smell hit me. Old vinyl, disinfectant, stale coffee soaked into plastic. The door shut with a hollow sound that felt final. Inside, I sat still, hands numb behind my back. This wasn't fear, it was focus. I replayed everything in my head, the initial approach, the drawn weapon, the lack of cause, the refusal to verify, the witnesses, the cameras. I cataloged it all. Outside, he drove without looking in the mirror. Halfway to the station, his radio chirped. Supervisor asking for status. He said traffic stop turned detention. Subject uncooperative. That word, uncooperative. Funny how calm insistence gets translated into defiance so easily. At the station, fluorescent lights spilled across the pavement. Morning in full swing. People walking around like this was just another Tuesday. The desk sergeant looked up, took in my posture, my calm, the absence of chaos he usually saw. What's the charge? Suspicious activity near a secured location. Failure to comply. I met his eyes and said evenly, "Before you go any further, notify my agency immediately." There was a pause. The pen stopped moving. Employer Department of Homeland Security, director level. The room didn't explode. It shifted, quietly. The watch commander came out, read the intake sheet twice. Asked where my briefcase was. Still in the vehicle. Minutes later, it sat on the table. Opened. Neat. Official. My badge right there. Real. Undeniable. The cuffs came off. The sound of the lock opening echoed in the room. I flexed my wrists, red marks circling my skin. The officer was relieved of duty on the spot. Weapon, badge, turned in. He didn't argue. He didn't look at me. And just like that, the power dynamic flipped. I went home that day thinking maybe this would stay contained. Internal reports, quiet discipline. I underestimated the internet. The video was online before I reached my driveway. Shaky at first. 2 minutes. Then more angles. Clear audio. Clear escalation. By noon it was everywhere. Cable news, social media, comment sections full of anger and recognition. People saying, "This could have been me." Yeah, that happened. 3 weeks later, he was fired. The city settled. Policies changed. Training rewritten. Oversight imposed. All the official language. I went back to work. I didn't give interviews. I didn't need to. The footage spoke louder than I ever could. But here's what still sits heavy with me. This system didn't correct itself because it was fair. It corrected itself because it was watched, because there were cameras, because the evidence became impossible to ignore. I had resources most people don't. Knowledge, authority, a title that made people stop and reconsider. So what happens when the person in those cuffs doesn't have any of that? How many moments like this never make it online? How many doors close quietly? No witnesses, no headlines. We love to argue right and wrong after the fact. But in the moment, it's messy. It's quiet. It's one decision stacked on another until suddenly someone's life is altered forever. So, I want to hear from you. Was this justice working or justice cornered? Was the officer doing his job or hiding behind it? And how many stories like this have you seen or lived that never got a camera angle? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Tell your story. Because accountability doesn't start in courtrooms. It starts when we stop pretending these are rare.